Hi, I'm Veronika, a somatic yoga teacher, and today I would like to share with you my wild thing, spontaneous flow. I hope you're gonna have fun with it. So let's begin on all fours, and you could first feel the space where you're most stable, when you're giving the weight evenly through all 4 points of contact with the mat. And perhaps start exploring some circles with the hips around the knees and with your shoulders around the wrists. You want to start getting used to the idea that there will be some weight bearing on your wrists. Now you could move one leg back, and that already activates and wakes up your core, especially if you do not allow your hips to twist. Do it with the other leg as well. You could do exactly the same with reaching with one arm forward. That's just about enough to wake up your universal core, your 360-degree core. And again, a little bit of circles with your shoulders around the wrists. You could also maybe find some other angles for your wrists. So purposeful changing of the angle and weight bearing. You're going to need them. Now tuck the toes under and lift your knees, but just a tiny bit of the mat so that your back is parallel to the floor. And you could play with your knees moving forward and backward, or maybe even swinging from side to side. So you really need to wake up that core that holds everything together. Anytime you feel like you need to rest your wrists, you could sit back and wave your arms, wave your wrists. And then we keep on coming back to all fours. So next time again, you can lift your knees slightly off the mat, but this time add to that a bit of a rotation. And if that goes well, maybe you can start lifting one hand off the ground and shift more weight with your hips towards the heels. So you're exploring very new angles and new pathways. Anytime you need a break, remember you can take a break for your wrists. And let's check how it would be if we go the other way around. And you can decide what position of your hands and wrists will be best when you sit and have your feet on the ground and when you want to lift your hips up. So you decide on the position of the hands, and when you're ready, come up with your hips not very high, and you could make some circles. Just start exploring how does it feel on that side. And maybe lift one hand and see how that rotation would look like from this position, this kind of spiraling motion, shifting more weight towards your feet, shifting your hips towards the feet. At any stage, if you feel that this has been more than enough for you, obviously you could keep on playing with this. If you would like to try rolling all the way over, that means you would need to use the opposing limbs. So if it's the right arm, it's gonna be left leg to roll all the way over, so that you move kind of between being on all fours and being in that position when your hips hang. And just to give the hands a bit of a rest, you could move for roly-poly, so that's rolling forward and backward using the momentum. And here you can also play quite a bit with the legs, maybe each time changing the legs. Sometimes the leg is straight, sometimes it might move out to the side, and it makes you land in a completely different angle. The main point here is that you're really playing with weight giving and with the momentum. It's the momentum that allows you to come all the way up. And you could really make it into a completely circular motion. My favorite, when I really wake that inner child in me, is when I roll all over by falling onto one thigh and then onto my back and then falling on the other thigh and using the momentum to bring myself back up. do not be surprised that it doesn't quite get you all the way up. It might take some practice. And it's really a very spontaneous flow, so it might get you to all sorts of positions, and you could play with any of the elements you've seen. Another one that is quite nice is a crawl, where you try to not to lift your hips too high, so you have your back parallel to the ground and you walk using the opposing limbs. So if it's the right arm, it's the left leg, and the other way around. That could also lead you into a squat, where you could play with lifting one hand at a time, or playing with moving your hips and swinging them from side to side, or maybe even adding some reaching with the arm. So again, your pace, your way of doing it. You could play around the way you want, moving back to any of the elements I showed you, such as rolling around. Maybe you want to add some other kind of form of spontaneous movement. Maybe when you're rolling onto your back, you want to roll also from side to side, allowing the leg to open. There are no limits. Just play with it. Make it fun and pleasurable. And whenever you had enough of that, you could give yourself a little break, maybe with all the limbs outstretched, lying on the back, feeling what changed in your body. How does it feel to be led with this spontaneity and intuition and fun? Whenever you had enough, you could roll to one side and come back up. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.